How do you feel when you see Jill Biden and what she's doing seems to be desperately clinging to power? What can you tell us? What is your take on what's happening?
Well, my take is the only take that can be taken seriously, to be perfectly honest, Greg, because it has been 40 years that we've been married. Yep, a lot is going on. And as you say, I have no hard feelings. That I've lived a better life since the divorce. The divorce was wicked, and I'll speak about that in a minute. But Greg, I'm the only one that can tell the truth about what's going on here. And I am telling you, the young lady, Dr. Jill Biden, that I see on stage is somebody that I really don't even recognize anymore. It's sort of amazing how she's matriculated into this person. And you're right, I have no hard feelings. That's so far in the past, I even don't even realize that it's true anymore. But let me tell you something else. When I saw her yell on the stage that a president that I love, Donald J. Trump, I could not stand by any longer when she said he's a liar. It drove me crazy. I can't stand it anymore. Maybe I am taking the gloves off. I don't know. But Greg, it's unfair. I don't understand her. I don't understand that she does not see that her husband, the president of the United States, is struggling. She's got to do something about this and realize that this is not any good for anybody, and especially the country.
Bill, you went through the divorce. We mentioned that. And the deal that was kind of brokered by the judge, my understanding, was very much in your favor, not in her favor, because Joe Biden got involved, brought in a new lawyer, made it a big case when it didn't have to be. The judge kind of shocked you in the courtroom by the deal he worked out, and Joe was humiliated, embarrassed, and it seemed like he wanted to take revenge on you. Do I have that right?
You have it exactly right. The court case, I had no idea where this was going to come. At this point, I really thought that, okay, we're getting a divorce, we're moving on. And a lot of people think that they are shocked what she has said just recently in the last couple of months, and how she's taken like a whole new course of taking control and literally making decisions, I believe, for the president of the United States. But here's what happened. Back there during the divorce, I was very successful very early. When I married Jill in 1970, we didn't have a dime. And I took a little bit of an inheritance from an uncle and opened up the very successful Stone Balloon nightclub in Newark, Delaware. It's probably listed as one of the top 10 college bars in the country, Greg. But we get into this divorce, and what I saw a couple nights ago with her on stage, everybody thinks, oh my goodness gracious, this is such a shock. But guess what? In my divorce trial in 1976, I walked into court. We tried to make a deal. We offered her up to $1 million. She dumped her lawyers, hired Joe Biden's former law partner, and I am telling you, for 3 days, it was a person that I truly did not recognize. She was bitter, and I've never said this before, Greg. I'm only sharing this with you. She was bitter, she was nasty, and she said things in the court that were crazy. She was accusing me of stealing millions of dollars from my own business over the 5 years. Stuff like that. This brought the IRS in. This brought the Department of Justice further in my life. It was brutal, Greg.
So the judge saw through all that, though, and understood that something not right was going on. And I believe, just do me a favor, because I got to get to something else, gave you a pretty decent settlement, all things considered, correct?
When I walked out of there, the money that I had already paid her previously was the amount of money that he awarded. He awarded $1.5 million, but knocked off some things for her education. So yes, it was a big celebration for me. I was shocked. We went to court because Jill turned down $1 million settlement from me. She was about 22, going on 23. We were only married 4 years at that point. We're in this vicious divorce trial. I turn around, try to make it as easy as possible for her. I give her her Corvette. I provide a townhouse for her. I did everything I could to make sure that she was happy, because I still cared about her. And to this day, I still care about her, to be perfectly honest, and everybody around me knows that. My problem is with Joe Biden. What he did was, right before the divorce trial, he switched his law firms to his old law firm, a gentleman named Melvin Monson. For 3 days, they bashed me. They bashed me in front of the IRS. They bashed me in front of the Department of Justice. And I said, what in the world and why is this happening? The bottom line is I won everything. I had given her quite a bit, and they ruled that her education at that point, which was her master's degree going on to the doctorate degree, that she had enough. She actually owed me a little bit of money at the end of the court thing, which was bizarre. My lawyer stood up and said, no, we don't want it. Here's what happened. They appealed. I owned a couple houses with her. But the problem was I owned our big house and my home at the beach in my company's name. So they sued me for one of the houses. It took 6 years to resolve that. And this is when my problem started. In 1982, they lost the house, and Jill had to come to the lawyer's office and sign off the deed of a house in downtown Newark. It wasn't even our beautiful home at Oakcastle or my home at the beach that I owned corporately with friends. It was a house that was worth $35,000, $40,000, and now it's worth a fortune. But here is where the problem was. Frankie Biden of the Biden crime family comes up to me and he goes, give her the house or you're going to have serious problems. I looked at Frankie and I said, are you threatening me? And needless to say, about 2 months later, my brother and I were indicted for that tax charge for $8,200.
You know, on the surface, it is crazy. Now, you're hearing this. You heard you say you heard a threat from Frank Biden. Those dates are crazy. 1 week later, Delaware is a small state. Joe Biden is like the Prince of Delaware in a way, right? Very powerful. You think that he essentially ordered this? Get Bill Stevenson.
I not only think it, I know it. I'll tell you right now, this is what he's using now, but we'll get to that in a minute. In 1982, my brother and I were charged for $8,200. At that point, the bar, in the first 10 years of business, had already grossed over $30 million, and we had generated over $5 million in taxes. I could not believe the power of Joe Biden and the Department of Justice. I couldn't believe it, that I could be indicted for $8,000. Now, here's the tragedy. My brother pleaded guilty. It broke us up forever. It's just within the last month that we're talking again. It broke my heart. He pleaded guilty. He took the fall. And in the newspaper, Judge Murray Schwartz turned around in the Wilmington News Journal and said, I sentenced the wrong brother. So I knew that there was something coming for me in the future. It's hard to believe what they're doing to President Trump right now. And that's why I came to you and you listened to my story. He is doing Joe Biden, our president, right? He lives 2 miles from me. Today, I'm 2 miles from the courtroom where the Hunter deal fell apart. And he is doing the exact same thing. I couldn't stand it anymore. I needed somebody just to listen to me, to tell them what happened to me because I got on the wrong side of the Biden family. After spoiling Jill for 5 years, I was on the wrong side of them, and they have literally come after me for 35 years in a row. One little thing after another. I was charged with an $8,000 car loan on a BMW that was owned by my business that I had just sold. I mean, it's been tragic. I can't let them do this to a president that I love and respect. I can't let them do this to our country. This is why I've come forward. This is the only reason I've come forward. It's like I said, nothing about the divorce, no bitterness, but Jimmy, Frankie, and President Biden are very dangerous, and it's tragic. I can't let them do what they did to me, President Trump. I can't do it.
Bill, I know you've led quite a life, actually, and numerous businesses, and you're very entrepreneurial, and you were an athlete of some renown nationally. You've put your thoughts together in a book, in some sort of manuscript. I know you've kind of had it for a while. When can people possibly read your story?
We're talking about mid-September to early October. I'm not promoting the book, Greg. I'm promoting what the Bidens did to me and what they're doing to our former president and what they're doing to the country. I don't even know this guy's thoughts anymore. I feel like he's a different person. You have to remember, I've known him since 1971, and I have followed him. I've never said anything. I've never spoken out. In my first book, The Stone Balloon, The Early Years, I say we drifted apart. My new book is going to be called The Bidens, The Early Years. And I am just telling a story of facts with proof, with pictures. And I think people are going to be surprised. But really, this isn't about the book. This is about what's going on right now in this country. Today, 2 miles from here, the Hunter plea deal fell apart. I was ecstatic all day. I couldn't believe it that it fell apart because you know what's happening as of today? The tide is turning. Now everybody is hearing the story. The national news media has ignored them for years. They've let them get away with murder for years. And I'm just so glad that I'm able to tell my story.
Listen, we'd love to. You've known Joe Biden since, what year did you first meet Joe?
1971. Greg. Wow. And the funny thing is, it was pointed out to me today that even though he has moved 3 times up here just outside Wilmington, I've always lived about 2 miles from him, which I do now. So I've known him since 1951. We were friends. And as we had discussed before, I backed him on the 1972 Senate run, which was when he was 29 years old, and backed him 100%. And it only took 2.5, 3 years down the road for him to betray me.
1971, I think you momentarily, slip of the tongue, said 1951. You met him in 1971.
Did I say 51? I was thinking maybe her birthday to 51. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Greg.
No, not at all. We know. And you've told the story to us before.
1971.
So, without going into all the details, which you and I have done before, the interview is on our website. You're married to Jill. You're working with Joe, trying to get him elected, throwing fundraisers. And at some point, Joe starts a relationship with your then wife. You have no doubt.
No doubt.
And the story she just told about first date, going to the movies in Philadelphia, and Frank Biden giving the phone number, what do you say? Is that at all true?
It's an absolute lie. And what's so funny was, they're saying it happened in March of 75. I do have that date right. I'm saying that the affair started in the summer of 1974, where a Corvette that I had just given her for her birthday, Joe backed into another car and then failed to pay the person within a reasonable amount of time. And he came to my business, explained the story, that his car was damaged. And 3/4 of the way through the conversation, he told me that it was Joe driving, not Joe. So, yeah, there's some fact. One more little funny thing, though, that is even crazier about that story with Piers Morgan is that Joe and I had gone to Philadelphia often to a restaurant called Champignon. Why they would go to that restaurant on their first date is crazy. Not only did the waiter recognize them, one of my great friends was there and took that picture of Joe and Jill in that restaurant. Doesn't make any sense at all.
All right, now, but you have no bitterness toward Jill. Things happen in life. People make mistakes. And I think you actually said at one point, this happened. People should know, but it's not necessarily, back in 2020, I think you said this, a reason to vote against Joe Biden. People make mistakes. You know, a lot of our marriages end in divorce. That is not a reason not to vote for Joe Biden, in your opinion, although there are plenty of others. But I just want to be clear on that. If I'm right, am I right about that? Is that how you view things?
Oh, 100%, you're right. I just the other day when I found out she had COVID, asked for my Facebook friends to send a prayer her way. I have no issues with Dr. Joe Biden. We were both very young. Everybody around me knows that it has worked out unbelievably for me with Linda, my stepdaughter Christina, and my family. It turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me, Greg.
We have a poll here. A lot of people do not think that Joe is up to the job as president. 60% expressed doubts about his mental fitness for the role of president. 73% of voters in the U.S. expressed concerns that Joe Biden is too old. You knew him all the way back in 1971. You see him around now, and it's obvious to all of us. We've seen the old footage, but it's certainly obvious to you, probably more than anybody, that this guy is a different man.
Not only is he a different man, it is absolutely amazing what I feel he's doing to destroy this country. Greg, we've all had those friends that were lying their whole lives. You lose those friends hopefully down the road, and that's what's happened to him. I'm probably the only guy that has known him for 51 years, and just because I can't get away from him, it seems, that I watch what's going on. Those guys that continue to tell lies, he told them literally on the first fundraiser that I did with him, he stole a story from me, and I think some of your viewers have seen that story. But this guy has lied so much, and what happens to those people over time is that they don't know where the lie ends and where the truth is, especially later on in life. You begin to confuse them. I mean, I'm 75. My whole life has been an open book to my friends. All my best friends I went to prep school with, my 5 closest loyal followers and friends have known me for almost 55, 56 years. Nothing has changed between the 5 of us. Boy, what's changed between Joe is it's dangerous for the country, and it's dangerous for a country that I love.
Bill Stevenson has such remarkable insight and perspective into the president, his wife, and everything that's happened over the years. Amazing perspective. To be continued, sir. Many thanks. Bill Stevenson.
Thank you very much, Greg, and God bless you.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe, be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.